Hello fellow pickers, it's great to share with you once again what we've been picking up for resale in April and May. We're finally getting some normal, nice May weather, and I thought I would show you our lilac that I cut from the tree not very long ago, and this is it on our dresser, so inhale and enjoy the lilacs. Exciting. I don't know where to start. We've picked up quite a bit of stuff. We've been busy trying and experimenting with different sourcing avenues. The garage sales have not yielded much of interest. It's quite bizarre. But you know, it's like that sometimes certain months or are going to be like that. So yeah, it's always exciting. I never know where to start. Well, the first thing is that we're happy to be out and at least trying our luck at garage sales and having that whole adventure because it's finally nice enough. About a week ago, we got a few flakes of snow. People about 2 hours from here, about 100 miles from here, were getting snow that actually stuck to the ground. That's how desperate we are to go out there and find some fun things. So we're kind of happy with anything we find. One really cool thing that's happened this year is we seem to be finding all sorts of Harry Potter stuff. So we went to the thrift store, the one where we had found some Harry Potter Lego, and that did very well. They had these two boxes that are basically, how shall I put it, like a figurine setup that lights up, and these are by Xmas, E-X-M-A-S. At first when I saw these, I thought, oh gosh, these sold at Walmart. This isn't worth anything. I mean, I'm sure everybody who wanted one got one. It doesn't matter. But they only sold through certain outlets. I think maybe they only sold in Canada. They only sold in Canada, and they're retired, and they were excuse me, I'm losing my mic, I'm too excited. They were $10 each. We haven't found those exact ones on eBay, but a castle of the same type sold for about $100. So we thought, it's just give it to me, go straight to the cash. That's just going to be fun to see how that does. We know they'll do well, so we're expecting hopefully maybe a conservative 30 to 40, and optimistic $60 and more. That was certainly a very positive step in the right direction. And then my husband is very good at picking up electronics. He's very interested and he has that good knowledge of electronics. So we always like picking up retro stuff whenever he can see it and spot the right thing. So this Sony radio and cassette player from the 80s had that wonderful retro 80s bright yellow appeal. And we think it's going to do well, maybe upwards of $30, $40. And he paid $5 for that. At the thrift store, I mean, sometimes we'll just try something. Certainly, this wasn't a big deal. It's not marked anything special. It just says Japan on the foot. But Again, I like that retro, vintage, very 70s to me cat appeal. It's in good condition, and for 50 cents, I'd like to try that. There are a lot of cat lovers who like collecting feline things. So there you go. My husband spotted that one. It's an Odagiri mug made in Japan. Has that classic 70s feel to it as well. The seagulls, the sunset. It was 75 cents. We'll see how that goes, although I'm sorry to say I don't hold out that much hope. We'll see what we get. One fun thing that we picked up at garage sales this summer is perfume. This is Ming Shu L'eau de toilette, and it's a spray. It's by Yves Rocher. This is discontinued, and my husband was really clever on this one. There were 3 boxes. I think 2 of them were perfume, 1 was eau de toilette, or vice versa. Anyways, he sort of looked them up really quick and said to the lady who was running that sale, how much would you like for that? And she said, oh, $2 a piece. My friend keeps giving me those because she knows I like that perfume, but I've got too many of them. So I said, would you take 5 for the 3? And she said, yes. Well, we've just sold 2 of these for approximately $70 each. So if you see these, definitely pick it up. And it really surprised me because it's not Christian Dior. It's not a huge designer, big deal thing. Yves Rocher, I don't even know if you know that name. Here it's pretty popular, but it's popular. It's like, $20 perfumes, or maybe 30, 40, so nice surprise. Don't, just forego perfume that isn't by big designers. However, we did go to this one street sale. There wasn't that much, but the neighborhood was so interesting. We got to talk to some very nice people. There were century-old trees lining the street, and we got to enjoy people's front lawns and gardens. And someone even asked me if I wanted coffee. And my answer to that is always yes. I never, ever turn down coffee, just so you know. So that was just a very pleasant morning. It doesn't matter if we bought something or not. It's just lovely. The landscape, the area. It was a beautiful day, so that was just a lot of fun. We went to some estate sales, and I started picking up these, which are mug racks, accordion racks for your mugs or jewelry, whatever you should wish to hang up on these, because Texas Gal and other people have suggested these are good sellers. So I thought, oh, well, here's one, and now I'm seeing them everywhere. So good. Woohoo! Better. Best. And so this, I don't even have to show you how big it is. Some of these have sold. There was a best offer on one of these. They wanted something like $65 and they took a best offer. I'm not sure of how much, but I would presume that's like $45 or something like that. Didn't know that would sell so well. Thought they all sold for maybe $12 to $15. So that's going to be fun to experiment with that. The only problem is for me finding boxes that they will fit in, like the larger ones, and so that's the challenge. And so while going to all these garage sales and you know, having nice people come up to us and offer us coffee, I did find something very practical for me this year, is this display box, which I was told used to be a tea caddy, a box where all these tea packages would come in, and that was let me see, that was $3. This cabinet, the same gentleman was selling them, was $5. This is nicely made and just really practical, and I want to use these when we go and do a flea market to display more delicate items or jewelry, etc. So I said, instead of 8, would you take 7? And he was happy to do that and threw in 4 chunks of freshly baked banana bread with chocolate chunks. It was the week of getting free food. I mean, how delightful is that guy? So that was a lot of fun. We did go and do a flea market, which was so-so, but again, the people were delightful. We had a lot of fun, and someone gave me a donut. So, you know, I'll just keep doing these things and wait for people to feed us, and that'll be good enough, you know. Then you don't even have to pick. But then, of course, you would pick because we love it. And so that was a lot of fun. The other thing that I wanted to tell you a little bit about was how we've been doing well with using Garage Sale, which is like a community, if you don't know about it, like a community-based network where you can sell and buy things, and where we've picked up this nook of, it's not a nook. Oh no, we didn't. Not Garage Sale at all. I'm so sorry. We picked this up at an estate sale for $5. They'll probably make about 30. So that was a fun little find in an estate sale. But what we did buy on Garage was this radio. Again, my husband spotted it and said, this is so mid-century modern, so jazzy, classy, funky, and that was only $25. Made in Germany, and I think that's from the 60s, if I'm correct. And it's a Turando. The other thing I wanted to tell you about this week are teacups. Teacups, I thought nobody wanted that anymore. Like, you know, to make a good profit, stuff that you could sell for like $25 and more. I hadn't seen a market for that lately, but I picked up a teacup for $3 at the thrift store. And I can't show it to you because it's already sold, but I will tell you about it. It sold for $100. It's a corseted teacup, and that's where the waist slims down like this. It was an Ainsley teacup, just like this one, except the difference was it, instead of having these flowers on it, it was dotted with fleur de lis in gold and had a big cabbage rose inside. So if you see something like that, definitely pick it up for the right price. So don't pass up teacups. Maybe linger a moment and do a little research. Some of them are really coming back into fashion. Aside from that, I saw other types of Ainsley or other British porcelain teacups that did okay, you know, like 30 to 40 bucks. So I'll be looking into that. We also picked up some knife rests. They're in their original box, and they came to $3. I've had a set like that, cats instead of horses, and they sold for about $20. My happiest moment of the day, was when we went to a neighborhood community sale. It was outside, so the day was beautiful. It was just very enjoyable. And there was nothing. There was nothing. But there was this lady who was selling lots of jewelry. And I thought, well, go check. And she was saying to this lady, oh, the jewelry is like 10 bucks each, but 2 for 15 or something. I don't know. So I bought a book from her and started chatting with her. And then I see sparkling stuff. So I stop and I look at this and I think, is this sign? And it is signed J Flex Continental, not a big deal. But lo and behold, I do think that all the stones are there, which sometimes doesn't happen. And it's a particularly nice Aurora Borealis shade of blue. People like that stuff. So I thought, well, I might make 10 bucks on this. How much is it? You know. But before I could ask her, I also see this. And I think that's a necklace, and I think those are 2 earrings. That's quite fetching. And I look at the back and see that it's signed, but this time it's signed Sherman. And Sherman is a good brand. That usually sells very well. It depends, you know, on the model, on the colors. People like it when it's a lot of colors and kind of crazy. But, you know, it's got the earrings. That should do okay. And I said, oh, well, that's kind of nice. Like, how much would that be? She said, oh, well, you can have it for $1. I'm going, okay. I said, well, that's interesting. I'll definitely have that. And I said, how much is that brooch? And she said, oh, you can have it for $2. And then I found this parrot, which I love because it has that 40s kind of Carmen Miranda, you know, things to do with tropical fruit and exotic things and these colors and a parrot. And she said I could have it for $1 too. So yay! That worked out super well. So we're really glad to share this with you. And I'm going to leave you on an experiment that I want to do this week. I've been looking at the world of photos. I always thought, you know, I mean, some photos, some pictures do well. They're usually cabinet portraits. They're usually older, but lately, from what I've seen, even snapshots, like maybe from the 40s or 50s or 60s, people want to see just furniture and style, and it's the nostalgia for those days, you know. So I thought, having found these in the garbage at some point, I thought I would try even the snapshots that I found, because they really do recall a way of living and a fun era. It speaks of that time, how people lived and how they dressed and their preoccupation of the day. Maybe this is 1955, so I thought I'm going to put some up, some humbler pictures, things that are not necessarily about, you know, the war or something important like that, and see how that does. And I will give you an update, and that will be cool. And so we'll try and do another video not too long. Until then, I hope you have better luck than we've had at garage sales, and happy picking in general. Enjoy the wonderful weather and enjoy each other.